Hey everyone, welcome back to this C# tutorial. This is the second lesson in the series. In this lesson, we are going to learn about the different built-in types in C#. Built-in types are one of the most fundamental parts of the C# language. They can also be referred to as data types. Built-in types are the building blocks of every C# program you'll ever write. Once you understand them, everything else becomes much easier. In this lesson, we are going to learn the fundamentals of built-in types. The different types of built-in types, numerical data, floating point data, string data, and boolean data. Built-in types are basically different types of data that are built directly into the language. These types represent the most common kinds of data you'll work with, such as numbers, text, true or false values, and so on. In this lesson, we will give an overview of the different types of data. We will then go into some of these in more detail in the next few lessons. The first type of data we are going to look at is numerical data. This can also be referred to as integral data. Some of the most common types of numeric values include a byte and an integer. A byte has a range of 0 to 255, while an int has a range of roughly -2 billion to over +2 billion. We can declare an integer value by typing int number 1 equals 25 with a semicolon at the end. This will store the value 25 inches, the integer variable called number. We can then write console.writeLine and place the variable inside the brackets. We can now run the program. You can see that the number 25 is displayed on the console. We can do the same thing for the byte variable. In this case, we can declare a variable by typing byte number 2 equals 50. We can add another writeLine command to display the value for number 2. We can now run the program. You can see that the number 50 is also displayed. If we want to display a number with a decimal point, we have to use what's called a floating point numeric type. One of the most commonly used floating points is called a double. We can declare a double variable by typing double. Number 3 equals 10.5. We can then use another writeLine command to display the variable stored in number 3. We can then run the program. We can see that the values are displayed on the console. We have looked at string variables in the last lesson. To declare a string, we can type string followed by a variable name. Let's call it place equals London. As this is a string variable, the word London has to be placed inside double quotes. We can use another writeLine command to display the contents of the variable on a new line. When we run the program, we can see that London is displayed on the 4th line. Another form of built-in data is boolean data. This type of data only has 2 states, true or false. A boolean value can be declared by typing bool followed by a variable name. Let's call it result equals true. We can use another writeLine command to display the contents of the result variable. We can then run the program. We can see that the value true is displayed on the console. These are the most common data types used in the C# language. They are the building blocks of every program you will ever write. So it is important to understand how these data types work. There are more built-in data types in the C# language, including things like structures and enumeration types. These are a little trickier to understand. So we will introduce these as we get more familiar with the language. In the next lesson, we are going to take a deeper look at the data types that we discussed in this lesson. If you enjoyed this lesson, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next lesson.